Grand Rising, y'all. Grand Rising, peace, light, love, and healing. What it do? What it do? Look, man, if you ain't ready, look, I advise you to keep scrolling. Because guess what? Jesus always been consciousness. That's what it is. Jesus always been consciousness. They confuse everybody with all these different stories, and they combine them and all that different type of stuff. You really worshiping the sun and the sun cycle. You know what I mean? When you educate yourself, you will know what I'm talking about. But yeah, Jesus always been a consciousness. That just took the stories from the Egyptians, virgin birth and all that stuff, the Lord and Savior, all that stuff from the stories that was already here. You know what I mean? We've been bamboozled. So that's what it's about. And that's why they left out Yahshua teachings. That's why we don't know where he was at from 12 to 32. Because they didn't want you to know that he was going to Egypt, all these different places, Asia, to learn all these gifts, to remember who he really is. You know what I mean? That's what it's about. So we can do it too. You know what I mean? That's why he said you could do greater things than I. You know what I mean? But y'all skip over all the stuff that you have to look at yourself. You know what I mean? Y'all skip over all that because y'all think y'all born in sin. All that shit is fake to keep you thinking lesser than yourself. You know what I mean? So that's what it's really about. They combined all these stories. You know what I mean? Just like the God of the Bible. They took the God, took this from these Anunnaki ancient gods that came here and masqueraded. They took their stories. You know what I mean? And they took the universal law, the universal principles. You know what I mean? And then, that's how God is omnipotent, all powerful, because it's the universal. It's the universal laws. And God know everything. It's energy and atoms and everything. And that's what God is. That's how God know everything. That's why God is sitting back right now like, I don't care what you do. There's no death. And I don't care what you believe. You know what I mean? Because until you raise up in consciousness, you got to keep coming back. So I'm experiencing life through y'all. Until you realize how to be gods and create heaven in this physical reality, you're going to be stuck. Worship, being materialistic and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Negative energy. Looking down on people. But it's all about rising up in consciousness. Become a God.